Good afternoon. Let me know you can hear the sound okay. Give me a thumbs up right now. Hey, I see Vicky and Joanne. Come on into the bear cave. I will know you can hear me when I get that thumbs up. Okay. Sound is good. Great. Shout out to the mob, all my other bears, like all the grizzlies and the honey bears. Well, it's April 14th and it's 2:12. I'm here in this bear cave with you, and let's just talk about a few things. I'm calling this one D for denied. The clock runs out because, well, timing tells you everything when people won't tell you anything themselves. So for the past 5 days, we've watched a pattern unfold in real time in this Smith versus Robertson. Not speculation, not guessing, a pattern. Filing coming in late, clarifications appearing right before deadlines, and now that notice of inability to appear filed less than 24 hours before a scheduled hearing, not days before, not even a reasonable buffer hours. Not strategy. No, that's not what that is. I'm calling it pressure. Fair use commentary for education, criticism, news reporting, and entertainment purposes only, my opinion. And here's the part people are missing. Some, maybe I should say, keep missing. When someone waits until the last possible moment, it's not just about delay, it's about control. It's about trying to shape the record without having to answer questions in real time. Because court is different in filings. You get to craft your narrative. In a hearing, you get asked questions you didn't script, and suddenly things get uncomfortable. Now, let's talk about what has happened. Daniel Robertson's position in this case has been built on maintaining distance. This case, my case as well. Distance from identity, distance from accountability, distance from direct confrontation in a courtroom setting today. And yet, the court set a time, a place, a moment where that distance gets tested. So, what do we see? Recap. Last minute filing, a notice saying she cannot appear, and a supplemental clarification of the record. How do you translate that? In my opinion, it says, I'd like to speak, but not be questioned. But here's where it gets interesting again, because courts are not YouTube comment sections. You don't get to drop a statement and disappear. When a hearing is set, the expectation is participation, not commentary, not narration, participation. So the question becomes, is this about logistics, or is this about avoiding a moment where answers have to be given live, under pressure, on the record? So now let's just zoom out. Over the last 5 days, we've seen a buildup of filings that seem reactive, not proactive, a shift toward clarifying the record instead of defending prior positions, and now an attempt to step back right when the court is about to engage directly. That's not momentum, that's retreat dressed up as procedure. Again, this is my opinion. I'm just commentary, observing. And then there's the denial. Because for all the movement, all the filings, all the last minute positioning, the court isn't playing along the way social media does. You don't win by volume, you don't win by time alone, you win by substance. And right now, the signal coming out of this case is simple. The court is not persuaded by tactics that avoid direct engagement. The last time I checked the document just before coming on, there was no response to the filing yesterday. There was nothing more on the record. It stayed at ECF 61. I thought that, and that's what happened. So, as we head into this hearing, well, we're not physically there. The plaintiff, I'm almost certain, is somewhere near that courtroom. Understand what really is at stake. This isn't just about one motion, it's about whether someone can continue to operate from a distance or whether the process is going to pull them right into the light. Is it going to move forward? Most certainly, I think. Because eventually every case reaches that point where filings aren't enough, where statements aren't enough, where the court says, show up or explain why you can't. And today, that moment is here. It's here. So, as you can see, 38 minutes away, and the hearing will get underway. Let's see who is out in the bear cave right now. We'll put my fireplace back up. Yeah. And let's just maybe recap or talk about it as we count down to this moment. I wanted to put a different background up, so for the day, let's do this. If I can pull it up. Yeah, let's do that. I see my moderators out there in the bear cave. Yes. Let's just go right at the top. Why not? Um, Welcome to Unwind with Teddy. That's right. Please remember to hit the like button on your way in, and all comments and opinions are welcome. Be respectful and mindful of the words that you choose to use in the chat. You can email me right now at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. Good afternoon, and Joanne is here in the Bear Cave with us. We have Ange 18I says, good afternoon, Teddy, mods, and mob. Good afternoon. It is to FIBA and right back at us, Teddy and the mob. Let's go. Good afternoon to Mimi Twin, and that was from Vicky. Yes, let's go. Good afternoon, Teddy and Mob, listening while working to all in the Bear Cave. Well, we're glad that you are out there listening to us and, yeah, and working. You've been working a lot of hours. Yeah. Let whatever hit the fan, well, something is going to be said. I'm certain of it. Yeah, and I tried to do like, and I found it for the um, Eastern District of Michigan. It's their, daily, court. You can see what cases are coming up and what time they are scheduled. And I did see, of course, it's right there along with other hearings, indictments, and all listed different judges. Yeah, and let's see, did I just pull a snapshot? Where is it? I have it. I can just pull it over real quick. So you can see that. 3 p.m. Courtroom 212. Judge Lori J. Mickelson motion hearing. Smith v. Robertson. And then that's the case number below. Yeah. Let's get rid of this. So they have down there lots of courtrooms. They do. Even up on the 8th floor. From the first floor to the 8th floor, I saw, various times and judges that are, running cases today. And on the docket, the last one for Mickelson, and I think I just saw him once today. I don't know, but I simply looked. It was 3 o'clock at the bottom. That's the last case today, or hearing. Let me remove this and continue to go down and say hello. Let's see. We have Charisse who comes in. Good afternoon, Teddy, and to Vicky, Joanne, Ange, Fiva, Mimi, and the mom. Lunch break. Nice. I just had a Greek salad. Yeah, not too long ago before I came on. Fair use commentary. Yeah. So, imagine that. It's procedural. That's the way to look at this. It's moving forward. It's procedural. So this escalation phase, this increased filing activity back and forth, 57, 58, 60, 61, and then before that, the tone eventually shifted to clarification and with some arguments and strategically positioning, from the very first filing, it was a motion to appear telephonically. I'm not looking at the various ECFs, but it was a motion to appear telephonically. If that couldn't happen, then to appear by a video conference with the cameras turned off. And lastly, if that didn't work, then accept the defendant's filings, and which would have been ECF 56. It was a revision of ECF, I believe it was 54. Mhm. So what does that suggest? Just questions, something for my audience to think about. Um, posturing, planning. I see it. Some legal strategy, presented, because it was a motion that's legal, right? By pro se, and then filed less than 24 hours, before this hearing, claims of inability to appear and or plus this supplemental clarification of the record. I read part of that yesterday. The court, didn't respond. Did you expect? I didn't. I didn't expect for the defendant to file anything else today. So, what does this signal? Again, this is this is conversation, it's commentary, it's talk. The signal was clear. Denial, of all the motions. The court was not persuaded by prior arguments. And then the emphasis, it simply remains on the substance that's going to be presented and lack thereof of the defendant with this compliance of this, order to show up or expectation. So there is no indication that this last minute filing will override prior deficiencies. So we don't know what portion of that, filing is going to be weighed in or allowed to, weigh in, because the, physical presence of the defendant isn't there, but it's on record. So we won't know how the judge is going to test those arguments, but who's going to show up and who's, I would think, would be there now waiting is the plaintiff. And she'll be asked questions and given an opportunity, no doubt, to respond and present, because the court asked her to prepare for the default judgment hearing. So she'll get that opportunity to weigh in. Yeah. And the only thing objecting, to that is what has been written in the document, because the presence of the defendant is not there. So that's why I say, what part of that will the court um, acknowledge and or ask about or test or not, right? Or, or overrule. Yeah. So less than a half an hour away. It's 2:32. At the present moment, this hearing is imminent, and the key issue leading up to it, expectation participation versus avoidance. So the court now is positioned to decide how much flexibility to allow. Again, this is simply my opinion. I don't know. We're just talking about it and recapping, counting down to 3 o'clock. Yeah. What do you think? Last minute filings don't fix long term problems. And you can't cross examine a PDF. That's the thing. You can't cross examine. You can't ask. The court can't directly, this afternoon, ask the defendant about what she wrote in her response or motions or her plea, her argument. Yeah. That's what is going to be missing at 3 o'clock. So a clarification, statements that she made, this defendant, without accountability present. The courtrooms, in this case, required presence, not just narrative. And delay is not the same as a defense. So, again, this is not about theatrics. It's not about any of this. It's procedure. It's just delivery. And to notice the pattern continues. Yeah. Yeah. So now let me just continue to look at the comments. Yeah, because I've said a lot. We don't have to read, anything more from the record. And yeah. Ange says, I pray judge reaches the right verdict. This is a hearing. And so will the judge make a final decision ruling on default judgment today? Like enter default judgment and what that judgment is, decision, X amount or something more. Will she make any ruling toward the, or will that include, more than, taking consideration? Will she make some type of ruling for the, not for meaning a win, but will she make some type of ruling against the uh, defendant, outside of a monetary judgment. Yeah, we won't know. She has a lot of leeway. It's her court room, right? So all we can do now is wait to find out what went on today in the courtroom. Yeah, it's not 3 o'clock yet, but yeah, there will be um, there will be something that will come out of this today. Yeah, it's not going to go just blank. There will be some form of either some order, um, something will come out of this, some type of ruling, decision. Uh, what next? What next? Yeah. What next? I mean, think about this. Yeah. What happens next in this process? Let me just ask in general. So what happens? And again, this is generalized, not specific, because we don't know. So again, remember, I said this is not theatrics. It is going to be, a courtroom and a hearing. So it's let's see. I asked the question, and again, this isn't 100%. I asked in general about um, motion hearings for default judgment and what typically happens in a motion default hearing. Let's see. So one of the responses is that the judge, again, this is coming from, I'm using in this case is Chat GPT. There are others. So the judge won't hear the whole case. Well, we didn't expect that. But they'll be asking questions. Let's see. So here's a question. Is it legally fair to enter judgment against a person without a trial? Well, this is a bench, it's not a jury, trial by jury. So it's judge. That's it. Everything else will revolve. So step by step, what is going to happen? So the parties are identified. The judge immediately notes who is present and who isn't. And, well, we know if the defendant is missing again, we don't expect. That already says a lot without saying anything. Plaintiff presents their argument. They don't get to tell their life story, but they, hit points or whatever they prepared. The judge did ask, you know, that would be important to review, what the court asked the plaintiff to prepare. Yes, that would be important. I'm just kind of scanning over this. One of the things, proper service. So was the defendant properly served? She asked about those things. And even if you look at the responses from the court, it says that the defendant was properly served. Recall that the defendant failed to answer or otherwise defend within a required time frame. And then the clerk entered, or entry of default that was entered. So those dates will most likely be noted. And then entitlement to judgment. Liability is established by default. Now the claims will be explained, legally sufficient, and damages. So, and again, I don't have that in front of me. I'm going to pull it probably here in a moment. The judge may ask questions. Let's see. Expect things like, how was defendant served? And well, that we know those three different methods. Why should the court find jurisdiction proper? Again, these are questions that might be asked. What evidence supports your damages? Are these claims well pleaded? So the court will be testing, precision questions. Could a defendant, someone say, at the last minute show up? They could, but no, I don't expect the last minute, like this was part of the strategy, to file something and then show up. No. Let's see. There will most likely be a discussion about asking for, the money. A judge may accept the evidence, may ask for documentation, may ask for more, may set a separate hearing, like a follow-up hearing, prove-up hearing. Oh, let's see. I'm looking at responses here on this from my question. Courts don't just hand out numbers, just freely. The judge may grant default judgment. So you win on liability. Damages are awarded or scheduled. There could be a delay or a denial, a pause, like if service is questionable, it should be clear. The judge cleared that. Jurisdiction, if that's unclear, if claims not well pleaded, again, I just ask in general. Let's see. Oh, responses could be taken under advisement. This would allow time for the judge to think and to, weigh what was presented. And the plaintiff, the most fun part of litigation, obviously, is you wait. if that happens. Let's see. Again, this is the part that the court, when they want it, presence, they can evaluate um, the individual, the credibility, everything. But not being there, they can't evaluate that. But they can certainly, they've evaluated, did they follow rules? Did they ignore the process? Yeah. That may sound cold. It's procedures, mechanical. It's how the courts work. There's boxes that they check. It's legal. Again, I'm just kind of reviewing over this. So, bottom line, the defendant was given an opportunity. Both parties were given the opportunity to participate. And one chose not to in the manner that the court decided that participation would be both parties present. Yeah. Today is Karma Day. And, so now this is talking maybe some history of what has gone on on this platform. Maybe just making reference to established history, since you mentioned karma. When the defendant came to this platform, I remember specifically she was in a video of someone else's, created a live video. And in that video, she appeared in, making a comment. And that comment was put on the, up on the screen, just like your comment is appearing on my screen. And she said she was Karma, like her name. Karma. This was before. This was really before things would start escalating during that summer of 2021. Because people were like, who is this person? Where did she come from? Does anyone know? So then she appears. Karma. All right. So she's been saying that she's Karma all along. Yeah. She's used it in multiple videos. Reminds people of karma. Yeah. There's plenty of documentation of that. But it is interesting how what you're saying, karma, today is Karma Day. So for people who believe in karma, the tables have turned. And if they believe in how she uh, thinks, because it's noted, it's not made up. She believes in karma. She does, at least by what she's written, what she's said. Does she think this is karma? You know, does she believe in what she has issued against other people, karma? You know, like when she puts the I, dots the I and the T, like, and says and speaks. Like this is your karma. She's said that. Like karma's coming for you. She has said that. Mm-hmm. Karma is on the way. Mm-hmm. She says, help is on the way. Well, she said something on June the 23rd. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's been giving out signals, smoke signals. Yeah, she has. It's all documented. And now she's watching. She's watching and she's waiting for things to unfold. How do I know that? Well, she's the defendant. She's not present. And she has to wait because she wants to know what is going to happen next. She really does. She wants to know. So, yeah, she wants to know, is this karma? She believes in it according to what's in documents. Don't know. I do think that she lives for certain rules apply to everyone else, but rules don't apply to her. Why do I say that? I always try. Because she said, who's going to check her? Nobody checks her in her mind. Not even karma. Do you see where I was going with this? So karma can't check her because who gonna check her? That includes karma. If you believe that, what she says. She's uncheckable. No one, nothing, nada. Right now in her mind, she is saying, and she's already said, she wins either way, whether she shows up or not. She said she wins. Amazing. So today is Karma Day. I don't know. Yeah. Catch me if you can. See you later. Help is on the way. It is. It's 3 minutes and 18 seconds away. That's help. Help is on the way. It's getting ready to begin, Help is on the way. Motion hearing today at 3 o'clock. I can visualize, as can you, the plaintiff has taken her position. She's in the courtroom. She's seated there and she's waiting. Mhm. She has her papers and documents, and she's anticipating the judge to walk in. All rise. The Honorable Lori Mickelson. Yeah. And to proceed as any hearing, any court matter would take place. Yeah. I appreciate everyone for supporting this channel. Baby Juju says thanks to everyone supporting Unwind with Teddy and the truth. Oh, she's got her mind on it right now. The defendant is thinking about this at the very moment right now. Please hit the like and thanks. Joanne says, imagine being anonymous trying to take anyone to court. Well, she said if she's found out, her identity, that she plans to do that. But then she put something else in there. Anonymity. Right? Order denying defendant's motion for reconsideration. So ordered. That was on April 10th. And I'm almost certain it will be United States District Court, Eastern District of Michigan, Southern Division, Kimberly Smith, plaintiff versus Daniel Robertson, defendant. Yeah. Time's up. All right. And it's 3:00. I'll read your comments and then, yeah. Good afternoon. Let's see who else has come in. You can email me right now at unwindwithteddy@gmail.com. Let's see. Please support the channel by hitting the like. Let me just read this silently. So I'll read the question, and I really haven't talked about this part. Survivor One official, good afternoon. Ask, Teddy, are you able to talk about the optics and how this would affect your case if she doesn't show up today? The best response to that right now is I haven't talked about it and I haven't decided to weigh in on that. Have I even given it as much careful thought about it? Because now we are beyond, we are into the hearing, right? Meaning always like waiting up to the point, like wondering what is going to happen, not speaking on, what if, in my case. I'll just say I'll reserve that. I need to weigh what I would say on that if I said it, because I really don't know how. I can say this, it's a separate case. So let me say that. Our cases are separate. We have a separate magistrates and district judges. You know, they were filed separately. I'm not a party to that case, and uh, likewise to my case. The plaintiff is, and the other case is not a party to my case. So, what we have in common is the defendant is, the same defendant. So it would be, of course, I have an interest in just seeing, you know, the mechanism and what is happening when it comes to this anonymity. Would she show up? Because at issue right now is her name, her identity, and in my case, so I that's still that's still an issue. I mean, that's not going to change in my case. That's still before the court. I don't know. The Yeah, it's two separate cases. Yeah, I don't expect. I'll say this. I don't expect my case to hinge on the whether she showed up today or not in the other case. I think this defendant will continue to make arguments in my case. Yeah. We are still waiting. So I'll talk in the present. In my case, I'm still waiting. We both are waiting on how the district judge is going to rule on the report and recommendations. We are still waiting. And when I say we, because however that decision denial granted, it affects both of us. So whether the court is going to grant a stay in my case for her identity. So I don't know how the optics are going to specifically reflect on my case. But she's, obviously going to be aware of it. Yeah, what happened today? Yeah. I don't know when. I don't know to what extent, but it's going to be on record. So I don't know how that is going to affect my case yet, because only the magistrate and the district judge in my case, that's something I don't affect. No. No. The defendant is writing her own record. Yeah, this is real time. This is something that can be referred to. Yeah. This is a matter of, this will be a public document. Like other cases that are cited. Yeah, she's written a record today. How it's going to be How it's going to look, I, I can't say specifically. I'll just say the record is going to be there. Yeah. Yeah. The judges are independent and they go by the law. So my case is different. It's being looked at on the merits and the arguments. Yeah. So that's what I'll say rather than getting into any more depth. Yeah. I hope that helps. We'll know more as time goes on. Joanne seems to think that the judge is going to give the plaintiff what she asked for. Up under the tree says, "Hi, good afternoon." Says, "I heard that it was said that as long as her identity was not revealed, she continues to win." Well, she has talked about winning, and she has said that we don't know her name and we don't know her address. And so, as long as that's unknown, you can, yeah. She has spoken about it. She has spoken about winning and what that looks like. Yeah, it's documented. Dee for Mama Warrior says, "We just got to know who this person is. To put it lightly, we must know what kind of person can do these types of, I'll just jump over that. To you and Kimmy and many more. So things have to be, things are alleged, and this is a civil matter right now. And yes, some things have happened that are they're horrible. Yeah. All comments and opinions in the chat are allegedly and their own. This person is anonymous. So even though they have told us they don't, they haven't done this, they haven't done that, they're not this, they're not that. It's as long as a person is anonymous, and in her mind, as long as she's anonymous, she's winning. Yeah. As a matter of fact, she did say whether she's anonymous or not, whether her identity is known or not, she always wins. So if that helps to answer that question about from up under the tree. Is that what your name is? Yep, up under the tree. Do you think she's winning? Do you think that's a win? You ask. Why do you ask? Do you think it's a win? As long as she continues to be anonymous? God will be in that courtroom for you and Kimmy. Y'all will have justice today. For sure, in Jesus' name, amen. So, prayer from Dee Fox, Mama Warrior. Now I see the name. No way she's going to show up. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's not there. Joanne says getting the bag is going to be another wild goose chase eventually. You think, yeah, because she did put that in. Uh, Not only, she said, people don't know her name, people don't know her address. She did mention, and the money. Money. Yeah. And if you haven't been paid, I wonder what her exact quote was there. Um, I don't know if I. Let's see if I remember what she said. Let me just. Yeah, something it went like this. Until you know my name and my address. And you got some money from me. She's saying people haven't won anything, but more colorful language. Mhm. And she always going to, you know, MF win, something like that. So that should answer your question. Even if she does not show, the Lord will reveal her somehow. Something will be found out. Court and judges don't play. She's not that powerful. She's a layperson. Um, I do believe in God. I do. And I know, in my belief is this strong. I know He knows her name. It was written before she was born. He knew her. He knew her even when she was in her mother's womb. He knew her. That's, yes, that's what I believe. Seriously. Let's see. The only issue, Ange says, I see in the case, in the other case, is the amount of damages. Well, the court has asked for specific things. As a matter of fact, I said I was going to pull that, so maybe I can let that be the last thing. What was that ECF? Let's see. Give me just a moment. I think I can find it or pull it up from Pacer. Where's my music? All right, I found it. It's ECF 51. Let me just put the fireplace back up. It was on the 17th of March. Order denying defendant's motion to set aside clerk's entry of default and directing plaintiff to submit a proposed order on motion for default judgment. You know, when I saw just the title, I didn't. That's why it took long. I didn't remember that these two were combined. So let's see. Let me see if this is it. Yes, this is it. So I'll just go to the bottom or the section where it says the court thus denies the motion to set aside the default and directs Smith to submit a proposed order on her motion for default judgment, ECF number 40, by March 25th. The proposed order must, one, explain why this court has subject matter jurisdiction. Two, why this court has personal jurisdiction over Robertson. Three, why service was proper. Four, why the complaint states a claim upon which relief may be granted, i.e., show why each element of the claims underlying the request for default judgment is made plausible by one or more allegations in the complaint. And five, substantiates the amount of damages sought. As to the last requirement regarding damages, Smith must provide sufficient detail about the basis for the $400,000 specific amount sought in actual damages, ECF number 40, page ID 292, and Smith must establish the connection between that amount and the injury and claims at issue. And she cites a case, Veslige versus Peterson from the Sixth Circuit, requiring that party seeking default judgment establish damages to a reasonable degree of certainty. It is so ordered, dated March 17th, 2026, Lori J. Mickelson, United States District Judge. So I'm glad that you made that comment because it reminded me to pull that up. Yeah, that ties, that's very important. Yeah, so that's what she is presenting or presented, to the court, and she had to do so, and the court reviewed it, prior to. So that was given to the court back in March, and I think that's going to be part of this hearing. Part of questions, and I don't know. But that gives us a framework. This is what the court is looking at as part of the default judgment in how she will make her decision around that. So she's asking or asked for information to help her arrive at the judgment. That was Ange who asked that question. Who said, So it wasn't questioned. The only issue I see with Kimmy's claim is the amount for damages. She needs solid documentation to prove it. That's why I pulled it, what the court said. MJE 333. Good afternoon says, I don't know if you're asking, is that true or not, or stating it. Will that information be exposed after they use you up? I maybe ask it maybe a different way. Let's see. Up under the tree, she said she didn't get the memo. She made let's see, where did she say that? In a response. In a response, I believe, to the motion for default judgment or default, or default judgment. I'd have to look again on Pacer. But it seems that something was said about that. Allegedly. Joanne says, all in what she asked for. She thinks the plaintiff will get judgment for that. The plaintiff has been before the judge now for 28 minutes, or at least in the court. It started. It's going. They're talking. Well, you are behind, Gia. Where have you been? I mean, as far as it's going. The hearing is now. So yeah, this was at 2:55 when you asked the question, or yeah. So it was getting ready to start. Well, it certainly isn't my case because I'm talking to you. Yeah. Yeah. This is check. LaDonna says this is her fighting being checked. Yeah, it's a control. You've got it. It is a form of control because this again is my opinion. One of the things she said in history, and when I say history back in that's been documented, she made reference to the art of war. All right, that is a Chinese, I believe it's Chinese story. I've read it. It's kind of like Proverbs quotes. It's from the book of Sun Yu, Suntzhu. The Art of War. It's well documented. People have read it. It has to do with conflict, how to win. It's been made into a movie. There's a lot about it. So there's games about it. It's about strategy. Let's see if I can just. I bring it up because she made reference to it early on. It's like something that underneath her movements, her strategy, she referred to it. It's how she believes she's winning. It's about strategy, it's about positioning, it's about winning without wasting energy. There's some core principles behind it. How to subdue the enemy. Mhm. Yeah. So she takes, at that time, when she was speaking about this or made reference to it, she probably thought somebody maybe didn't know what she was saying. She said it's the art of war. Like she wasn't really quoting it, but she said it's like the art of war, something like that. And I said, she's read this. So I know she was making reference to it. Like she thinks everybody in her audience doesn't get it. That was early on. She dropped that. I said, oh, hmm. Oh, yeah. That's why she makes reference to it's chess, not checkers. You have to listen closely to things that she has said. This is a strategy for her. This was planning for her, in my opinion. I base it on history. I base it on things she has said. It's the art of war, how to win, how to position, how to strategize. And then when she said that, I'm sure someone remembers me saying this. I said, who taught her that? Who has she been around? What is her background? You don't just, wake up one morning and say certain things that she has said. Who are these people in her background? Who are these layers that have put her, if taken to be true, who are these layers that have put her out front as this anonymous persona? I'm going to say persona. Who taught her that? Who laid this out for her? You don't wake up one morning and it just happened. You have to study the background because we don't know her or him or whom these people are. Someone, if if this is true, has positioned her to do their bidding based on what she said. So I'm not going to say anything that can be held against me because if I'm ever put to the test, you better know I'm going to pull out the receipt and I'm going to say, if asked, well, that's been barred. Well, you brought it up. So you're bringing it into the future, you're bringing it into the present. And if the court asks about it, I'm going to bring the receipt. It's there for a rainy day. So if it's raining and someone asks me to pull out the umbrella, I'm going to have it. That's just, yeah. So, in other words, I would not be speaking these things if I didn't have receipts ready, if I couldn't tell the story. Because she's been dropping breadcrumbs all along. So this is real. She has talked about the art of war. And so that's why I think this is a strategy. Everything that she writes, everything, every way that she's been moving, it's all to position herself to remain, she said she's a winner, to not be unmasked because that is not considered a win, not a real win. Although she the other day said whether she's known or not, she's winning. I don't think so because she would have shown up. She would have shown up. But instead, she made a motion and she gave the reasons why she couldn't. But see, the court doesn't know her history. That she said she's calculating, that she said she plans things, that she has said she is 4 and 5 steps ahead of the game, that she said she builds a paper trail, that she has said, see, the court doesn't know this as a reference, so that things can be framed. Perspective, again, is my opinion, but I see how she's moving. Yeah, this is calculated. She said it is. Test me. Say that I'm lying. So you can say it. I don't care. I'm not lying. And I said I'm basing it on her facts. I'm not mine's. This is what she has said. This is her record that she has created in videos, in post, in breadcrumbs. So Joanne knows about the art of war. Says, I always hear a lot of people mention the Art of War book, yet honestly, very few have ever read it. Just like saying chess, not checkers, but never actually played a game of chess. Yes, Queen's Gambit. Yes. Knowing the game. Who taught her? Who taught her all of this? She came from day one doing things. So people can say, oh, you've got to learn on the job. She brought a certain already, an advantage because she could look up people she had already looked into Nosy Whole Live before she made her first video. She had already interviewed someone from Nosy Whole Live's high school yearbook. She had already contacted Lake Charles. Y'all better leave me alone. Y'all better leave me alone. She had already positioned things, written things. Mm-hmm. She had already began. Receipts don't lie. People do. Check the dates. Mm-hmm. She was already present before the mothership landed, meaning, before she dropped her channels. She was already dropping pearls in Nosy Whole Lives videos. She was already saying something was on the way. Smoke. She was already showing images of, the movie reference. Kevin Spacey. It's all there. This was a strategy. All you have to do is just line up the pieces. And then when you look back and you say, oh my goodness, she was already here. She was there when Nosy Whole Life did the roast of Queen Tulsa in the panel. She showed up. Hmm. She showed up as another avatar. I believe it was her because the words are there. They match. Hmm. She showed up as an avatar with a sword. Behind this avatar came as a fighter with a sword behind them. Hmm. Yeah. Siri says she gets too much credit and she's anonymous. Oh, Survivor says Tasha K uses the reference a lot. I didn't know that. I haven't. As much as people think that I've listened to Tasha K, I haven't. Yeah, I've listened to more more in early on, but not now. How did she refer to it, if you remember? Tasha K, using the reference a lot to the Book of Art of War. People know about this. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's 3:42. How we doing? Okay, hour and a half. I'll go maybe max it out to 4 o'clock, if that. Unless something earth shaking, breaking news. You know, I don't know. So you think she gets too much credit? She's listening now. What you want to know, Daniel? She obviously wants to know what's going on in that courtroom. Um, and she's probably thinking, yeah, I've won. Is that what you're thinking? Oh, she's thinking about her next move, her next. Um, let's see. I gotta be careful. Let's see here. Okay, back to various commentary. Mm, thank you, Vicky. You're doing great, Teddy. Thank you. She referred to it by acting smarter than others, propping herself up to show off, usually. She definitely thinks she's on top. Yeah, because she made a quote directly to me. She said, if you think, let's see, if you think you're on top, then you're winning. No, I'm on top. Yeah. Hmm. So until you're on top, yeah, yeah, yeah. So right now, she thinks she's on top because that's winning to her. Hmm. She's thinking, she makes some kind of reference to DBU, uh, whatever that. Yeah, she thinks everyone is dumb. Bird's brain, her typical. her go-tos, um, that no one can win. No one can win, outsmart her. That was the quote. She said, "No one can outsmart her." Mhm. And when they try to, that's something that she really despises. She doesn't even want people to think that they could be her match, outsmart her. That doesn't live in her universe. So that's why I'm saying, where did she get this from? This is, I've never seen it before. Yeah. Not coming. I've just, mm, mm. I'm just really trying to think of, you know, she said she's a black woman. She said she's a professional. I don't know. I just don't know this. Yeah. You think it's sick how she thinks of herself as some authority figure. Yeah, like she's going to teach. Yeah. Hmm. He who laughs the loudest. Do you know she made reference to laugh, laughing last? She said she's going to get the last laugh. No, really. I have I have pulled out some of her key quotes. I need to put them all, organize them all. But she did say that she was going to get the last laugh. Yeah, it's like she has a bunch of quips that she's said over time. Yeah. Yeah, who speaks for her? I don't know. She wants everyone to be afraid of her. She said, what did she say to that in fear? Oh, something like when I mention other like content creators, I said, really, the dominance that she wants in this sector, I said, people are afraid of her. She came back sometime later and said, nobody is afraid of her. She's content. She was talking to me directly. Um, yeah, they are afraid to speak their truth. Maybe not afraid in what way she's trying to make it, but afraid that if they speak their truth, say anything that she doesn't agree with, that her wrath is going to come down on them. So that's a form of fear or intimidation. That's how I see it. Yeah, she strikes fear or intimidation. You have to listen to her words. You have to listen to her get into the other persona, and it would be clear. Yeah, when she gets into that bad girl persona, that Montana persona, oh, yeah. She said she's ruthless. Her words, not mine. So if that isn't meant or said to strike fear or intimidation, then what is it? Control? What is it? Tell us. Why do you use those, phrases? I know you're listening, but so why? What's your purpose? Everything has a purpose. You didn't know that. Let's see, what didn't you know? Okay. Joanne says, well, she didn't show any accountability. This is the one test that, yes, where she says to everyone else, be accountable, accountability. I can't tell you how many videos, how many posts, how many times she has used that, put it across one, um, you know, just one slide, accountability. Yet, when asked to be accountable, she didn't come through. She really folded behind the, um, some might say, excuse her response, her notice. I'm not showing up. And then she gave reasons. Is that accountability? That's not what the court wanted. She had 4 weeks to get it together. Yet she left, 4 or 5 days before the court hearing to start these motions, to be telephonic. You know, she could have asked about that 4 weeks ago, but she didn't. Internet gangster, true. Joanne. Survivor seems to think, again, this is your opinion, um, everything was a big act, Teddy. That's why she wants to be anonymous. From the things she said to the claims of what she represents. All lies. I don't know if you heard recently, she said, again, this is in my words, that if she is, you know, no longer anonymous, that we think she was something on this platform. She's going to be something to be reckoned with. Like, we don't want her to be unmasked. This is what she's saying. You don't want me to be unmasked. Now, why? You don't really want that. That's what she's conveying. So, you're saying what she represents, these claims, it's all smoke and mirrors? It's all big bad, huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down, said the big bad wolf with an angry frown. Then he huffed and he puffed and he couldn't take it down. Well, he took, the house of straw and the house, what, straw and wood or whatever. And then he came to the pig. In this story, everybody knows the three little pigs. The house made of brick. And he huffed and he puffed. Who knows that ending? These court cases have provided a lot of insight on who she really is behind the persona. Some think she's a coward. Anne says no. We want her to be unmasked. I want her to be her identity known. One, the court is asking for it. To be held accountable. I haven't changed on that. You think it's all an act. Acting larger than life. When the curtains are pulled, like in the Oz, she's a real nobody. Well, we won't know that until we know, right? And right now, she didn't even show up as, a pseudonym. Well, she knows that part. She knows that part of being whatever judgment is made against her, she knows that in order to collect, that's part of it. You can't collect from an anonymous source if you don't know what the source, or at least their source, is. If you know what I'm saying. And she said layers have been put into place. She has said, that's not my money. That's someone else's account. That's someone else's. I'm not on anything. This is what she says. So this was all planned. That's what I'm talking about. The art of war being planned. She said she plans things. Yeah. So just put it together. Let's see. The judge already stated she's going to be sanctioned. I don't know if the judge stated. I don't know which one you're referring to. So, yeah, you have to be more specific. I know there is a motion. I made a motion for show cause. Why she shouldn't, in my case, be held in contempt for defying the judge, and sanctions be applied. The judge granted that motion, and she was given an order to show cause. Why she shouldn't be held in contempt or be sanctioned. There hasn't been a ruling on it the last time I looked. Check this morning. The court is not closed yet. So I don't know if she's going to be sanctioned or not. She's asking for a stay. Yeah, for ruling, So I don't know. She couldn't handle the backlash of being unmasked. Well, she said a lot of things recently. You might want to check it out. Email me at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. Wow. Yep, we are approaching the 4 o'clock. All eyes. You're talking about something some time ago. You say you remember when the clerk stated that she misquoted another sanction. How would you know that? The clerk. You said you remember the clerk stated. I've never heard the clerk state that. I've read things. But as far as a clerk, so I don't know that to be true. All right, let me check my email real quick. Okay. All right. It is now, I'm looking at the clock, click, tick down. Local time, Eastern Daylight Time. It's 4 o'clock exactly. Clock just turned. Okay. Court's still open. Yeah, go back and relook. Yeah, just check. Maybe you want to check. You're talking about on the docket. It's either the clerk or the judge. Okay. Yeah. I know some things are signed by the clerks and some things are signed by the manager, court manager, documents, and things are signed by the judge or magistrate judge. 1 hour. 1 hour. That's right. Court's not closed. And for some reason, I can't imagine with the volume of what the court was asking and, review or questions, or that it would take less than 1 hour. Yeah. But I don't know. This is my imagination. I imagine that the court is still in session in courtroom 212. Uh, yeah. And that they're talking, you know. There's the judge has shown up by now and they're talking. Yeah. Yeah. And I think by 5 o'clock, she will, yeah, definitely be walking out of that courtroom. A couple of hours. Because the courts are closed at 4:30 doesn't mean that they shut the doors. I don't know. But that's why I say 5 o'clock. Um, just logistically, getting courtrooms cleared and stuff like that. But yeah, will the court, here's a question, and we'll find out. Will the court adjourn and will there be another hearing scheduled? Yeah. So we're going to find out all of that. In the meantime, I've got to turn my attention to my record and my court and waiting. Yeah. And I'll wait until 4:30. I usually check the record, the docket twice a day. Yeah. Before noon and then after the court is closed. Yeah. So I plan to come back tonight. It's 4 o'clock. I've been on almost 2 hours. And yeah, I'll read your comments last for the last go round. And then I think it's time to say goodbye. Yeah. Yep, 1 full hour. Bushes comes in. Good afternoon. Says, I hope Kimmy briefs us. You can probably hear this really long pause. I would only think, as a plaintiff, that she's probably going to hold for a moment on any details, okay, until the record is created, is being created. There's a transcriptionist, but until it's been like formalized, and yeah, I don't think, but this is just me. I know you're hopeful. Um, and yeah, people can hope too. But as a plaintiff, she's probably going to be more restrained. And unless, here's where she would tell you, if the gavel comes down, if the gavel comes down and judgment is arrived at the end of the hearing, and that gavel comes down with a number and a final, and it just has to be, she might skip out of that courtroom. She might just skip like she's skipping. Yeah. So now I'm going to talk about human reaction because I didn't allow for that. So this is how I'll answer. If that gavel comes down, you said you hope she lets you know. If that gavel comes down, she's going to be skipping and singing a different song. and you'll hear from her. Because that'll be like yeah, she'll be singing, yeah, skipping and smiling and feeling so relieved. Yeah. So I think some way you'll find out. I don't know if she'll be able to keep that one, under wraps um, too long. So again, this is just me kind of responding at the end. Okay. I said she was going to be more restrained, but then I left the door open. Uh, okay. And I can tell you another thing. As soon as the other party finds out what happened in the courtroom, then you might hear like you might hear something that will sound like a victory lap coming from the other side. See, you gotta just leave room for different possibilities, okay? If it's anything outside of that, then you're going to hear someone do another kind of a victory lap. You know how it goes. Okay. So we don't know until we don't know. We just have to watch the movement. Okay. Keep your eyes peeled for something, a video. So somebody's gonna run to their Discord. Any kind of movement. As a matter of fact, let me see. Somebody's probably they're listening right now. Yeah. And as soon as I say bye-bye. All right. Bushes says the judge might rule after the last minute filing yesterday, after being told no a million times. We don't know how this one's going to play out. Because, yeah, I don't know. I did say in the beginning, so for those of you who are now just joining me, yeah, how the judge is going to take in consideration what was filed in advance and whether she asks questions, considers it, even though she's not present. I don't know the law. I don't know. So, yeah. Is anything possible? Anything is possible. What's plausible? Short of possible, I don't know. She won't care. Here's another thing. If she starts singing and skipping, she won't care what you call her at that moment. I'm talking about the defendant. You can say checkmate, because that's what that will be. But on the other side, she said, unless you get money, you haven't won. So you know what comes next. Thank you, Vicky. Keep me on track. It's 4:10. That's it. All right. That's it. Yeah, gives me some time. I got some things to do. Yeah, got some errands to run. All right, that's it for me. Yeah, it's 4:10. Biggest bear hugs go out to all the grizzlies and the honey bears. Please hit the like on your way out. Join me sometime tonight. I do plan to come back. If not, then you'll see it on a community wall. I appreciate all of you joining me. One last comment. Take care. Let's see. No spades. Take care. That's it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. It's not evening yet. Good afternoon.
비가 내리면 자연스레 너를 떠올려 따스해지니까 Don't know how I can explain 하루 종일 네 생각에 간절해 낯설어 나 왜 이런 걸까 You're the cure to all my pain 널 좋아하나 봐 널 사랑하나 봐 이젠 더 이상은 숨길 수 없잖아 내일 더 아껴줄 거야 안아줄 거야 We're meant to be you can't deny 내일 더 다가갈 거야 사랑해줄 거야 You're my sunshine after rain 네가 좋아 저 깊이 하늘을 봐 더 푸르른 하늘과 Silver lining in the clouds 바람결에 미는 너의 향기 햇살 같은 눈밑 작은 점 하나같이 사랑해주지 않고 못해가 oh baby 널 좋아하나 봐 널 사랑하나 봐 이젠 더 이상은 숨길 수 없잖아 내일 더 아껴줄 거야 안아줄 거야 We're meant to be you can't deny 내일 더 다가갈 거야 사랑해줄 거야 You're my sunshine after rain 네가 좋아 내일 더 아껴줄 거야 안아줄 거야 We're meant to be you can't deny 내일 더 다가갈 거야 사랑해줄 거야 You're my sunshine after rain 네가 좋아